I'm a DJ, right?
Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening to all. Welcome to our Vibe Rides Opportunity Call. And happy Memorial Day for those in the United States, and happy Victoria Day for those in Canada. And for those who are on this call, we'll celebrate whatever it is together today on this call. Welcome, welcome, welcome. My name is Angela Oliveto, and I am the proud director of Vibe Rides. So welcome, welcome. If you're new on this call, we have opportunity calls like this on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays at 11 a.m. CST, that's Central Standard Time. If you are a driver, it's great to be on this call. Welcome, welcome. But if you're a driver in regards to trainings for drivers only, we have those on Tuesdays and Thursdays at 11 a.m. CST as well, Central Standard Time. And what we talk about is updates, the registration process, anything that happens out in the field, any changes in anything that'll keep you in the loop in regards to being a driver. Those are the calls you need to be on. But this is a really important call. Today we have a very special guest. Oh, and by the way, these are all recorded. You're not going to miss a thing. So if anyone didn't get a chance to get on this call, let them know that it is going to be on Facebook. As soon as we're done, it gets recorded and uploaded onto our Facebook page. So any trainings that we've had in the past regarding drivers only and this opportunity call, you'll be able to find it on our Facebook page. So let's move on. Our special guest today is a successful entrepreneur, family man, married to beautiful wife with two beautiful kids. Born and raised in Mauritius. I had to write that down. I've not heard of Mauritius, and I had to Google that. And what a beautiful island. Everyone check that out. It's really, really beautiful. So I had to check that out for sure. Moved to London alone at the age of 18 to pursue education and a better future. Had a dream, so he thought, in 2006, but was forced out in 2012 after training his replacements. Crazy. Been in business for several years, building large sales teams on a global scale. This guy is phenomenal. He's a great human being, a pleasure. I was so grateful to meet him a few years back. He is now also one of the field ambassadors for Vibe, and we are looking forward to bring his experience here to Vibe and helping the company grow. Please help us welcome our special guest, Avinash Nagamah. Avinash, are you on the call?
I am absolutely. Thank you very, very much, Angela, to you, to Scott, and the whole team at Vibe, because you guys are doing a phenomenal job. So thank you very much for that. It's an honor, it's a privilege today to be here, to serve the people, to be able to share this phenomenal concept with everyone here. So with that being said, guys, so first of all, let us know where you're tuning in from, and make sure, for those of you who know about Vibe already, make sure you go and start your watch parties on Facebook. You tag your friends and family on this video, because here's the thing. Angela mentioned, I didn't know it was a holiday in Canada. I know it's a holiday, Memorial Day in US, but she forgot it's actually a holiday in London, in UK too. It's spring holiday, so today everyone's at home. But that being said, most people have been at home for the last couple of months. But on Memorial Day, we've got to say a massive thank you to all those men and women who are recognized today for being part of the military, but as well all the key workers in the world, because we've got to address the elephant in the room. During this pandemic, COVID-19, many people have been affected in many ways, right? But today, by you tuning in on this channel, and here's why we want you to tag other people, is because here's 3 things we're going to provide to you today. 1, we're going to create a positive distraction away from all the negative news that you've been attached to for the last couple of months. We're going to put power into the common people's hands. We're going to empower people today. And 3rd, last but not least, we're going to share an opportunity with you. Well, you couldn't have been, I'm so excited because you couldn't have been at a better place at a better time. Many people with this pandemic, there's a lot of uncertainty in terms of, jobs, in terms of future, in terms of business. And today may just be what you need to. And with that said, let me just go ahead and share my screen with you guys, because when we talk about an opportunity, it's very, very important that we have a disclaimer, because, and as you read on, I'll read the first line and allow you the time to take a screenshot or to read on. You see, Vibrites cannot and will not make any guarantees about your ability to get results with our program, information, tools, or strategies, right? This reminds me, it's a little bit like a gym. People join the gym to get a certain desired outcome. But by joining the gym, you don't get the desired outcome. You get the desired outcome by going to the gym and putting in the effort, putting in the time, the commitment. And likewise, Vibrites is exactly the same. Well, you see, Angela mentioned that in 2006, I had landed what I thought was my dream job. I was a very happy employee. But then in 2012, my COVID-19 happened because I was forced out of a job while away on an extended leave for my wedding. And the company had got me to train my replacement prior to leaving and whilst I was on holiday. And for me to walk back into my job, to be told, well, we've had to restructure the company. And because those 2 people you train together combined would cost us less than what you were costing us, we've made your position redundant and created 2 assistant positions. My COVID-19 happened in 2012. And I quickly knew, you know what, if I don't shift myself, my mindset, nothing was going to change, right? With that, you see, the world has changed right before your eyes, right before our eyes. I remember my granddad had 1 job all his life, for as long as I can remember. But my parents had 3 different career jobs, different paths that they took. And in this day and age, it is said to be people go through 5 career changes. 30, 40 years ago, 50 years ago, people were able to come out of education, get a job that was for life. Look around you. I mean, even before this pandemic, how many people were unemployed, were losing their jobs? How many of you have felt undervalued at your job? Where you felt, you don't get recognized for how much you do, or you felt overworked, underpaid, certainly, for the work that you feel like, people are aged out. What do I mean by that? Well, you see, newer people coming out of university, coming out of education are replacing others because they come with a newer mindset. With technology is also helping get people out of their jobs because, whatever we learned, whatever the system taught us 20, 30 years ago, it's for a world that does not exist anymore, right? Now, the gig economy, many people may not be familiar with this term. It's a total new economy that's been happening over the last decade. The gig economy refers to contractual jobs, when you have a short contract job or to perform. It also refers to, anyone who does something as a side hustle. The rideshare industry is also part of a gig economy. And the gig economy, just in the USA, comprises of over 70 million people in this day and age, in this year, right? But it's about working smarter and getting more done and using a lot of app base where you can, You know, you create new and bigger opportunities. Now, to explain that better, you know, first of all, why do most people never get ahead of the money curve? Have you ever felt, and I'd love for you to put this in the chat, if you yourself or you know someone who always feels like the month end comes too soon for the bills, but not soon enough for your wages, for your paycheck. You know, it feels like every month you're working harder and harder and harder, but yet you're moving further away from your goals, from your dreams. You're getting less and less done. Have you ever felt like that? I'd love to know in the chat. But the reason for that is because, you see, we all have a set amount of time. And most of us, most of the population are only exchanging their time for money. And that would never be able to get you ahead of the money curve. If the only time you have a figure being added to your paycheck is when you are physically doing something for it without any passive option, you're never going to get ahead of the money curve. You know, and to explain that, I'd love to share this, what we call the cash flow quadrant, very famous concept from the book Rich Dad, Poor Dad by the author Robert Kiyosaki, where it takes, you know, there's 4 quadrants: the left side with the E and S quadrant, and the right side with the B and I quadrant. And here's what he explains: 95% of the world find themselves on the left quadrant, and 5% of the population, of the working population, finds themselves on the right quadrant. But here's something that you need to write down. 95% of the people who are on the left quadrant earn 5% of the global income of the world. This was shocking to me the first time I heard it. 95% of people who are on the left side of the quadrant only take away and share 5% of the global income. And the 5% on the right, they share 95% of the global income. Which side of this quadrant would you like to be on? And let's go and take a look at which side we are on at the moment. You see, on the left side, we have the E, which is the employee who has a job. And then you have the S quadrant where you're self-employed, which means you now own a job. It's a little bit better than being an employee, but it doesn't take you to the right side of the quadrant. And we'll explain why in a minute. On the right-hand side, you have business owner who owns a system. And we also have then, the last but not least, the investor quadrant, which is where we all want to get to, where money works for you. But for you to get to the I quadrant, you have to go through the B quadrant, because you have to generate the additional income that will allow you to become an investor. So if you are currently here, if you're currently on the E quadrant, you're an employee, that means your boss controls your time and your money. Your boss decides how many hours you've got to work, which days you work, and how much you're going to get paid. And we've talked about being underpaid, being overworked. And every single one of us who's had a job feels like that. But yet, we're not willing to step into the other quadrants. And very often, the main reason, statistics shows that the main reason people don't step into the next quadrant is because of fear. Because of fear of thinking whether they can succeed, the fear of failure. And also, most people are under the misconception that it takes capital or huge amount of money to step into the next quadrant. Well, then we also have the self-employed quadrant, the S quadrant, still on the left, where now the customers, your customers, control your time and money. You see, you may think you're self-employed, that means you control your time and money. Let me ask you this. When you're not working, how much money do you make? When your customers want something specific done in a specific way, do you have a choice if you still want to make money? You don't. The customers owns us, literally, right? And then when we move on to the business quadrant, the B quadrant here, it's you control your time and money. Now you are in control of how much time you dedicate to your business and how much money you make. And with the investor, where money works for you, right? Now, time for you, let me just, sorry, my screen is just gone off here. I hope you can still see. It's time for you to take control. Now, what do I mean by that? You see, the left quadrant is where you're actively putting your own effort. And I'm sure you've heard of the saying, it's better to earn 1% of 100 people than 100% of your own efforts. Here's the reason why. You know, when your income is based on active effort, one, you're spending too much time on the wrong side of the quadrant. But here's the challenge. What happens when you, for whatever reason, cannot go to work? What happens when your family needs you at home? And I've gone through that, and I'm talking to you from my own experience. I thought it was a dream job I had, but what I didn't know, I was also sacrificing, even when I had my dream job. So I thought, but I was sacrificing time with my family, right? But when you, excuse me, sorry. There you go. Now, when you move to the right side of the quadrant, now you earn from passive efforts. You use leverage. You're on the right side of the money curve. And that is the only time you can actually get ahead of the money curve, right? Now, to get to the B quadrant, you don't need to do a lot of things different. You would do what you are already doing. But the only difference is you have no boss. There's no degrees required, no experience required, but others are working for you. You see, Vibe Rides helps you gain leverage. Now, I want to introduce you to the drive share industry. Now, many of you may know it as the ride share industry. Now, the timing is right. I would go to say the timing is perfect for the ride share or drive share industry, as we call it, and you'll understand why in the next couple of slides. You see, the drive share industry currently have 98 million rideshare passengers and only 5.3 million drivers and growing. You see, whenever something is new, it has to go through what we call the 3 C's. You know, and any of you who's sat in any company that is a rideshare company, you know this. The first time you were looking at booking a taxi or rideshare, you were hesitant. You were not too sure. It was a new concept, you see, but now we've gone through the 3 C's: curiosity, confirmation, and confidence. Now we don't even think about it. We pull our phone up, we go to the app, and we book a rideshare. It's now formed part of the natural habit, right? And as a result, it makes it the perfect time to enter the drive share industry because it's done and tested. Drivers have been trained and passengers are now have the confidence in booking ride shares, right? Now, the reason we call us a drive share, because unlike a ride share, we are a mobility solutions. Vibe is moving not just people, but products and services. Vibe can move pretty much anything. So we're a mobility solutions provider, okay? Now, Vibe, we introduce you to the next generation of drive share. Now, there are 3 ways to Vibe, and we're going to go through each of these. You can ride, which means be a rider, just like you may be with any other rideshare company. And we'll go through why you would like to be part of Vibe. You can be a driver, and just like many of you might be drivers on this call, or you can be part of our overdrive. This is where it gets really, really interesting. For those who wants to move into the B quadrant, that's where it gets interesting. It goes without saying that to ride with Vibe as a passenger, as a rider, it's at no cost to have access to the technology. As a driver, likewise, of course, you have to cover your vehicle inspection and background check, which we'll talk about in a minute, right? Now, as the ride components of Vibe Rides, why is Vibe Ride just different? And that's our hashtag, just different. Well, because you can customize your ride. You can have rider rewards. And there's something called Girl Power, which is an amazing feature we have, which we'll elaborate on the next slide. You see, Armando here, for example, is a driver. Or a rider, apologies. As a rider, you get to choose your setting, and that's why we call it Choose Your Vibe. You can choose whether you want any conversation or not. You can have that preset in your app, or when you're booking each ride, you can choose that. Because I've been in rideshare cars before where suddenly it's election time and they're talking to me about politics, but I don't like to discuss my political views with any other stranger. You know, you may not like to talk about religion or anything else. You can preset all these options in your app. You can choose the temperature you like to travel at. You can choose the type of music you want. Ever been in a car where the music is playing is just not your type, or is maybe the kind of music that you like, but not just at that moment? For whatever is going on in your life at that time, you just wanted a different kind of music. What if you could have that option? And here, when it comes to girl power, I'm so proud and privileged when it comes to this, because, you know, when I think of my mum, when I think of my sister or my wife or my daughter, I think this has been so much thought has gone into this company. Imagine a rider has the option of pressing the girl power button and only getting picked up by a lady driver. Now, why is that important? Well, imagine if someone's gone out on a night out, you know, with some friends, it's 2 a.m. in the morning. How comfortable are they getting in a car with a stranger? We know the rideshare industry has proven itself, but wouldn't it be more comfortable for them if they had the option to choose a lady driver? Well, that's one. These are some of the many other features that you have as a Vibe rider. Well, additional safety features, like we mentioned, the girl power, you have safety alert feature, you know, where you can press a button and there's a safety alert. There's like, you know, then there's your route tracking. You can have one of your loved ones tracking your route to see where you've reached, where you're getting to, have your car stop unexpectedly en route. And we are on a first name basis only. So the rider will only know the driver by their first name and vice versa. Now, the additional benefit of being a Vibe rider is you have loyalty and user benefits. You can share the Vibe and get paid. That's where it gets really interesting. You share the Vibe and you get paid. And you have travel exclusives. Now, we have done things in the past, like where on every so often there'll be a draw for someone to win an exclusive travel, maybe a hotel stay or you know, an exclusive holiday. And you may also be getting access to exclusive discounts on your travel, right? That's why it's incredible to be part of Vibe as a rider for free, and you pay for your trip as you do with any other company. However, Vibe is also the next generation in drive share, because there are free ways to earn. Now, here's where it gets interesting. You know, earn when you drive. Now, when you've been a driver, if any of you is a driver with a ride share, that's standard. You earn when you drive. But that's pretty much it. Well, here at Vibe, you can also earn when others drive, and you can earn when customers ride. Now, you know, if I was to ask you this, ask any rideshare driver that you know, and ask them, how much money do you make when you're not driving? They'll be like, Well, here at Vibe, you can earn when others drive. You see, now let's go and look at the drive option. And it's absolutely free to become a driver. Apart from that, you have to pay your vehicle inspection and background check. You can earn an active income, right? You can earn when you drive up to 75% after your first 50 rides each month. Now, of course, that is excluding the Vibe per ride fee and any tax and tolls, etc. Now, why would someone want to drive for Vibe? Well, along with the features we've just shown you, imagine, I mean, I can speak for myself and let you know, let's see if you can relate, right? And if you can relate, give me something in the chat. If I was to sit in a ride share, and when I get in the car, after being greeted, everything till the point of my destination is exactly how I want it, exactly how I like it. The temperature is just perfect. The music is the type of music I would wanted or needed at that time. There was no conversation if I didn't want any, or if there was a conversation, it was about topics that I like to entertain a conversation about. I am personally likely to tip the driver more. I'm definitely going to tip that driver more than a usual normal driver, where when I get in the car, I have to say, oh, can you put the AC on? Can you change the music? Can you take this route? Can you use maps in Google Maps instead of Waze? But if all that was set and I didn't have to bother about anything and I had the perfect ride, I'm definitely going to tip that driver more. And if you are the same, then you understand from a driver perspective, along with the security features and getting paid up to 75%, why it's in their interest to drive for Vibe. Now, let's look at an example of how a driver can earn $5,000 per month driving. Now, that broken down is $250 per day. And if we say you only drive 20 days per month, I know it's normally 5 to 6 days for those who drive part of a rideshare or full time. We say 5 days a week, 20 days a month. An average of 17 rides per day at $15 per ride will give you an earning of $5,000 per month, of course, excluding all the per ride fee, tax, and tolls. Now, if you look at that model, that's just based on being a driver. And we're not factoring in the long trips to the airport, which can be $60, $80, or $100. We're not factoring in any long trips. The average here is at $15 per ride only, 17 rides per day. And that could make you up to $5,000 per month. Now, we know there's many people out there right now, they may not have a job anymore. Their business may be at risk, but if they still have a car and a clean driving license, well, this could be an amazing opportunity for them to come and just drive for Vibe. Now, let's look at overdrive. Like I say, this is where it gets really exciting, because this is where it allows you to move from the left side of the quadrant into the right side of the quadrant, into the B quadrant. You see, you can now generate passive income by earning when others ride and earning when others drive. Imagine you can earn when someone else is riding. What we mean by that, not in your car. You already earn from that. What if you could earn from a passenger using Vibe, irrespective in whose car they were sitting? As long as they use Vibe, you got paid. What if you could earn when others drive? Here's a question. If you're a rideshare driver, or you know a rideshare driver, go and find out. Ask them, how did they find out about the rideshare they're driving for? Did someone introduce them? Absolutely, yes. And did they introduce other people? Very likely, most of them did. That's how the rideshare industry grew, and grew so quickly, right? Now let's take a rider passive model for those on overdrive. Let's say you go and get 10 riders. What does that mean is you give away the link, the free access to our technology for free to 10 people who uses rideshare. Now, those 10 riders, just like they did with any previous rideshare, when they experience choosing their Vibe with us, they're definitely going to refer their friends and family anyway. They've done that in the past, but here's what we do. We incentivize it for them. Each customer that gets 5 other riders to download the app for free and use Vibe, and this is an upcoming feature coming soon, well, they will get a free ride. Now, those 10 riders brings 50 new riders, which those 50 do the same. They bring 250 new riders, and you now have combined 310 riders. Now, the rider can't earn. That's why we incentivize it for them. Those customers that the riders bring and the other riders bring becomes your customers. You now have 310 riders. And at total, at an average of them spending $50 per month, is a total expenditure of $15,500. And you, for referring those first riders, get 3% every time all of those 310 riders take a ride. And based on the average of $50 per month here, will give you $465 per month, $5,580 per year, passively. Are you putting any hours when they are in the car? Are you driving? Are you doing any work for that? No. This is where you move to the B quadrant. Now, we're not even telling you what would happen if you go and get 20 riders or 50 riders. We're not telling you what happens in this example when those 250 riders also goes and get 5 riders each, and you have 1,250 more riders added to your customer database, because we want to show you how you can get started on building a passive income, but we don't want to scare you with the figures. Now that's with the riders. Now what happens as an overdrive when you have drivers, when you bring in drivers to the company? Now this is a driver passive model. If you bring in 10 drivers, again, that could be all 10 drivers you brought to drive for the company for free, except they have to cover their vehicle inspection and background check, of course. Or you could bring 5 people who brought 2 drivers each, or 2 people who brought 5 drivers each. If you have 10 drivers and they pick up fares of $50,000 per year, and that's below the standard average of someone working full-time in a rideshare company. Now, those 10 drivers in total pick up $500,000 worth of fares per year. You get paid 3% on all those drivers too, which means in this example, you get paid $15,000 per year every year. Now, remember, this is not you driving. This is just you introducing other people to come and drive. And we've already gone through multiple reasons why someone would want to drive for Vibe. Now, what if you could get 20 drivers? What if those 10 drivers could go and get 5 drivers each for you? You can do the maths on that. But we want here to show you how you can move over to that B quadrant, because this is what this call is about today, to show you an opportunity where you can actually move yourself from the left side of the quadrant to the right side of the quadrant. Now, let's summarize this for you and compare a rideshare as a drive, an active person who's driving, compared to someone being part of the overdrive, where you now are on the right side of the quadrant and you're earning a passive income. You see, on the left, the companies, and this is existing rideshare models, and not that to say there's anything wrong with any of them. They have gone and done a brilliant business model. But what we've done is we've gone and expanded that into a different way. It's the new generation. Currently, to drive for a rideshare, the company pays the startup expenses. The company will pay for your vehicle inspection and background check, and you allow that to happen. And just because of that, you keep yourself away from the passive income. You keep yourself on the left side of the quadrant. The earnings are capped at 70 to 75%. And 25 to 30% goes to the shareholders. You see here at Vibe, our CEO, the founder of the company, Mr. Holton Buggs, owns the company outright, debt-free. No shareholders to breathe down his neck for them to increase their earnings, which means we don't need to go and squeeze more out of the drivers or out of the riders. And when you look on the right-hand side, you own the customers for life. You can own a fleet of drivers. You see, each of those drivers or customers that you bring to Vibe becomes yours for life. It's like you own your own rideshare within our drive share company, because each driver becomes part of your fleet. Well, tax benefits, here is something very important. And this is just one example. You can get a rebate of 57 cents on every mile that you drive, because now as an overdrive, you are on the B quadrant. You're a business owner, which means you can offset a certain amount of expenses for your tax purposes, along with many others, like you can offset some of your part of your mortgage because it's a home-based business that you're going to run from home, and many others. And that's something you can go back to your accountant. In fact, the CEO, Mr. Holton Buggs, has said in the near future, he's going to make these type of calls specifically to guide people and have his accountant firm of this company come and share with you how you can be more tax efficient by being part of the overdrive, and how you can offset and have rebates against your taxation. Now, we also pay 70 to 75% for driving when you're part of overdrive, but 12% goes to the drive share, and only 18% goes to the company. In fact, when we're paying 75%, 13% goes to the company. You see, here, the drivers, the overdrive you are considered, you are treated like the shareholders, which is why you're able to earn this passive income and take yourself onto the right side of the quadrant. Now, with that being said, how do you get started? You get started now by very simple. The person who invited you here today will guide you through the process, but it's important for me to run you through this to become a Vibe Overdrive ambassador. Now, let us make this clear. To become a rider, there's no cost to download the app to get access to our technology and this incredible option of choosing your Vibe. To become a driver, as we call it, again, there is no cost to us. You just have to cover your vehicle inspection and background check, and you can drive for Vibe. But to become an overdrive, if you want to move yourself into the right side of the quadrant, then it costs $49.95 for business registration as a one-time fee. And to buy the overdrive pack, it costs $200 with a $99.95 per month subscription. Now, I want you to just imagine this. Any of you who's ever want to be your own business owner, or maybe you've been a business owner, how much has it cost you to run your business? Here, you have everything set for you at a combined cost of $249.95 and only $99.95 per month as your subscription. And go back and figure how many drivers and riders you know that would love to be part of this concept, even as a free rider and a free driver, and work out how much potential income that could make you. You see, but that also, this $200 for the overdrive also covers one background check for you and one vehicle inspection for you. And you will also get 100 boomerangs. 100 boomerangs means you can share with 100 people our technology, inclusive within your overdrive pack, whether as customers, as riders, or as drivers, which we call drive. And you have your Vibe fleet management system where you manage your customers, where you manage your drivers, and you manage your overdrive ambassadors, right? And with that said, you can also reduce the subscription to $49.95 per month if you go out there and bring 3 people on an overdrive ambassador pack as well. Guys, with that said, it's important for us to put up the disclaimer again in a minute, but choose your Vibe at vibeoverdrive.com. And the person who invited you here onto this call today will guide you through that. Make sure you go and tag anyone you know right now onto this call who either needs a positive distraction, who right now maybe they need a plan B because their plan A is not really working with everything that's happening in the world, or any rideshare driver that you know, or riders that you know. Tag them onto this call because you could already be having your riders and drivers ready to go. With that said, let's put up the disclaimer. It's very important for you to take a screenshot of this because we cannot make any guarantees on your ability to get results. And as you read on, I just want to say thank you very much for listening. Thank you to Vibe for allowing me this honor to come and serve here today. And thank you very much, Angela. And I'm going to hand this over to you. Really thankful. Thank you very, very much.
Wow, that was phenomenal. Thank you so much, Mr. Avinash, for taking the time to share the vision and the insight in your experience. That was excellent. Loved it. Loved it. Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. So everyone, exactly what Mr. Avinash said. Get with the person that invited you on this call. Very, very important. They're going to get you to the other side. Well, this is going to get you to the other side of the money curve, to the B quadrant. That's where you want to be. So again, please get on these calls. They're very important. You want to take your business to the next level. You want to take your life to the next level. Be on these calls Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. AM CST, Central Standard Time. And also drivers, if you know drivers, of course, get them on this call if they want to get their life and they want to build a fleet and get them on the next level. But there's Tuesdays and Thursdays, driver only. Those calls and updates and trainings are at 11 a.m. CST as well. And of course, everything is recorded. You can catch this 24/7 on our Facebook page. Okay. record it, get over there, get on these calls, share the vision. This is phenomenal opportunity. Let's get you to the B quadrant. With all that said, have a super Monday, super holiday, and of course, London, your holiday as well. And anyone out there, have a super duper day, and we will see you again soon. Take care.